What up, YouTube? So I wanted to do some clarification because people have been fucking up this phrase and term for decades. 2 years ago, I tried to correct people, and people are still using this term all out of context. So check it out. Let me give you some clarity, okay? There's what you call the Nile Valley. There's Nile Valley civilization. There's the Nile Valley River. Listen to what I'm saying. Nile Valley civilization, Nile Valley River. You also have terms like river civilizations. Let me clear it all up for you because people are confusing it and mixing it up. I was chilling and laying down in bed, so excuse me, I got my pajamas on. So check it out, just for clarity so you can understand. And when someone makes this wrong statement and phrase again, you can clear it up and check them and correct them and help enlighten them and educate them. Okay? Sudan is not the Nile Valley. Sudan is not a Nile Valley civilization. Sudan is not even considered a river civilization. Listen to me. The Nile Valley, when you hear that, they're talking about Egypt specifically. No other country. They're not talking about Sudan or Nubia. They're talking about Egypt. The Nile Valley. The Nile Valley is basically the country Egypt. No other country. The Nile Valley specifically, and to be technical, is the Nile Delta. The Nile Delta is the Nile Valley, if you want to be totally specific. But we just consider the country Egypt. Academia considers the country Egypt the Nile Valley. So when people hear Nile Valley or Nile Valley River, they also include Sudan or Nubia. That's a mistake. Nubia is not a river civilization. There's a difference when saying Nile Valley, and there's a difference when saying Nile Valley River civilization. These are different terminologies people fuse and confuse. Okay? Let me give some more clarity. There are only 4 places where they're considered technically in academia river civilizations. And I know I'm going to get pushed back because you guys just want to include everything and you guys want to save face from what you was wrong about. So you find it hard to embrace new information. I know I'm going to get some pushback. In academia, they considered 4 places river civilizations. That's the Yellow River, China, the Indus River, India, the Nile River, Egypt, and Tigris Euphrates, Mesopotamia. Those are the 4 that's considered river civilizations. You know what? Let me just make sure, because I don't want to put out no bad info. Hold on, bear with me. Let me click in River Valley civilizations. Okay, so just let me get it right. I am right. The River Valley civilizations that emerged, So what are the 4 main river civilizations? The River Valley civilizations that emerged on the Yellow River, China, the Indus River, India, the Nile River, Egypt, and in between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, Mesopotamia made lasting contributions to civilizations. Nubia is not considered a river civilization, although a river runs through Nubia. Bear with me. There's rivers in other places in the world also, but they're not considered river civilizations just because a river is on the land and on the geography. Okay? Now, the Nile River or Nile Valley River, which is Egypt, not Sudan, not Nubia, is because they were able to travel up and down the Nile by boat. From the first cataract up into the Mediterranean Sea. The Delta, which is closer to the Mediterranean, which is northern Egypt or what they call lower Egypt, the Delta is the Mediterranean. Nile River Valley is the Delta. That other river is considered a stem. So the Nile Valley River or the Delta, they said it resembles the lotus flower, the Delta. The D is also resembled the Greek word delta, I guess, which is a D, and a D, right? So, I was gonna make another point. I kind of forgot. Okay, so let's just be clear. Nile Valley is Egypt. Nile Valley River is also Egypt. They don't call the Nile in Sudan Nile Valley River. They just call that the Nile River, not Nile Valley River. Nile Valley is a delta. Now, Nile Valley River is Egypt in the delta. See, in Sudan, it's not considered a river civilization because they can't travel up and down from all them cataracts to 6 cataracts to the first cataract like that. Because there's shallow waters, there's rocks, and there's what they call, is it a waterfall? I'm not sure. Maybe that's closer to Uganda. But it's rocky. They weren't able to travel by boat like the Egyptians was. So the Nile River benefited the Egyptians. That's why they're considered a Nile Valley. And it deposited silt all around the delta and the marshes, and that's where they grew the papyrus plant in the delta, the Mediterranean people, right? Because 90% of Egypt lives along the Mediterranean in big cities, not in the desert or where the Red Crown. So, that's how you know that people are Mediterranean. 90% of the Egyptian population today and in ancient times lives along the coast, lives close to the Mediterranean, in the Delta, in cities like Alexandria, in Cairo. All that is along the Mediterranean, basically in the Mediterranean. It's a Mediterranean culture, 90%. 90% of the business that ancient Egypt did and modern day Egypt did and does is with the Mediterranean world, not Nubia. Now, they did trade and business with Nubia, but more so for fine things like gold and ivory. Other than that, they wasn't too much fucking with Nubians. Run that gold and that ivory and be some peasants. But other than that, they was doing big business and trade with the Mediterranean world. That's why they're Mediterranean people in a Mediterranean culture. Understand that. 10% of business was probably Nubia. The rest was with the Mediterranean world. It is what it is. Nothing to get mad at. It's just the reality. So stop trying to include Nubia or Sudan, whatever you want to call it today, as a river civilization, and don't include it as a Nile Valley River civilization, and don't include it in any kind of phrase connected with the Nile Valley. Now, those are three different terms and phrases, as I said. You got to understand and have good listening comprehension. One more time. You have the Nile Valley, which is Egypt, basically the Delta. You have the Nile Valley River, which is basically Egypt, in the river going to the Delta. And you have river civilizations, 4 of them, one of them being Egypt, with the Nile. The other 3, the Indus in India, the Yellow River, China, and the Tigris-Euphrates, Mesopotamia. 4 river civilizations. Nubia is not one of them. I'm sorry. Now, if you want to be petty, you can make it one and get technical and say, oh, well, they fished in a river, so that must be a river civilization because the river gave them sustenance and fish. You can do that. But in academia, there's only 4 river civilizations that the rivers greatly benefited them. Now, I'm not saying that the river in the Nile in Nubia didn't benefit them. Of course it did. They got fish and shit out of there. It brought them some water to the desert world they lived in. I mean, wherever there's a lake or a river, it benefits anybody. But wherever there's rivers in the rest of the world, outside of those 4, they're still not considered river civilizations. Although there's rivers there. You get what I'm saying? So stop trying to include Nubia as a Nile Valley civilization. It's not. I used to say Nile Valley civilizations include all of Egypt, Nubia, and Ethiopia. I used to say that because Dr. Finch used to teach that. He said include it all because it encompasses it all. It just encompasses it all. And he was trying to make Egypt black, Ethiopia, and Nubia black. It's all of it. I don't think that way no more. But I've learned different. Dr. Finch was wrong. And anybody else, including Nubian, into a river civilization or Nile Valley River is also wrong. T-Fex, I'm out.